technology being more widespread than ever, anyone can make music. But many find the task daunting, including myself. Conveniently for me, our school happens to have a sound engineering and music production club. So I emailed the advisor to set up an interview with one overarching question on my mind. Can an average teen make good music?
Music's just always been part of my life.
Meet Mr. Fry, the Music Production Club's advisor, orchestra teacher for 18 years, and Ohio Music Education Association's treasurer for Southwest Ohio.
Since I started playing when I was about 9 years old.
What instrument did you play?
I started on the viola when I was 9
okay.
years old. And I think at some point it's just made sense that that's what I should continue doing.
What do you think are some key skills that teens should develop in order to become successful music producers?
I think right now we're at a place where there's a lot of technology that's very easily accessible to everybody. So there's not like a hard entry level with like just a phone or a
You don't
computer.
necessarily need to play an instrument. to
Yeah,
make
you
good
don't
music.
need a lot of specialized equipment. It's very accessible to people. So I think the easiest way is just to try out. There's new tools being introduced all the time, so just play around with it and see what works for you.
Can you share with us some of your favorite success stories? Do you have any students who still continue producing music as a job, or?
I know one student currently works for Sony in their video game music production
Oh, that's cool.
department, and
I know a lot of teens want to do the same.
yeah, and he's been living in Los Angeles working on that for the past like 4 or 5 years, which is really cool.
What's the biggest challenge you would say that teens face when trying to create music for the first time?
I think it's just getting over that mental barrier of it's okay to experiment. Like it's okay if
You
it
don't have
doesn't
to create
sound good.
perfect music from the
Yeah,
start.
and you don't know what it's going to sound like until you try it. So I think it's just there's that mental hurdle of just being comfortable exploring and just not being afraid to try things.
How do you incorporate technology and software into music production? Like, do you just use like computers, or do you use anything else to create with it?
I think when you're talking about music production, like obviously a lot of it happens on the computer now. And it's, for me, I like playing with new toys. So just finding,
Yeah, yeah.
if I have an opportunity to try a new gadget. My first instinct is to start with an instrument,
Yeah, that makes sense.
just because that's how I've spent most of my life learning music.
Yeah, that makes sense. What advice do you have for parents who want to encourage their teens to start making or playing music?
I think it's all about that exploration and just creating an environment where everyone can feel free to explore and, like try things out without a fear of failure. I think it's creating that just sense of it's okay, just make something and see what you like.
Yeah.
Mr. Fry was helpful, but I wanted to get the perspective of a teen, so I decided to interview one of my friends in the music production club, Mihir.
It first started off when I discovered GarageBand, so I just sort of messed around on that with like loops and stuff, and that was kind of my gateway into the world of music production.
So when did you join the music production club?
I couldn't do for the first semester because of marching band who officially started. There was a kind of a gathering where everyone of all the clubs sort of like had like booths, and I saw the music production club. I'm like, well, this is what I want to do, so
Yeah.
eventually I joined that.
What software or tools do you use for music production?
I used to use GarageBand. I still do, but now I switched more to BandLab because it's just better. I also, in music production club, I use Ableton Live, really way more powerful than BandLab or GarageBand.
Are there any specific skills or techniques you've learned since joining the club?
Resampling. Resampling is basically when you take a track that's already been it's usually the things with a lot of effects, and you don't want it to overload your computer, so you turn it into an audio file, which significantly decreases the load on your computer.
Okay. Do you have any memorable moments or experiences from your time in the club?
The entire club yapping about Tinghetsu
Okay.
every week.
What advice would you give to someone who is interested in getting started with music production or joining a music production club?
Don't overthink it. When you look at software like Ableton or FL Studio or any of those big music softwares, they look very complicated. If you look at a YouTube tutorial, it'll show you the very basics, and just using those, you can make just really simple stuff. And eventually, well, as you get better and better, because music production's a skill, eventually you'll make really good
skilled,
music. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for coming to this interview today.
Thank you.
So that answers the question. Music production doesn't have to be complicated or perfect, and any average teen can get started with making music. What's important is to just get started and make some noise.